30 seconds and counting. 25 seconds and counting. We are still go. 20 seconds. Guidance alert. The guidance system now going internal. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening to my viewers in Europe and Africa. Good afternoon to most of my viewers in the Western Hemisphere. Good very early morning to my viewers in the Pacific Rim. Welcome to the Angry Astronaut, a special live stream episode where I'm going to be giving you sort of a recap of what happened during my time at RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk, and also field your questions. And I believe we have a fairly sizable crowd, over 140 people watching already. Excuse me. And yeah, looking forward to talking to you folks about what transpired. Give you an opportunity to give me some questions, and you guys can tell me or ask me what you would like to know. And where is everybody checking in from? Obviously, we have people who are already volunteering that information. Hello, Cape Town. Thank you very much for checking in. Really appreciate that. Hello, Big Mike. Thanks very much for being here as always. Hello, Hamburg. Thank you very much for checking in today. Hello, Clifton, Ireland. Hey, Damien, how you doing? Hello, Houston, Texas. And of course, our fantastic producer, another space nut. Hello, Rochester, New York, and Macedonia. Hello, Four Marks and Northern Ireland. Hello, Missouri and Nottinghamshire. Hello, Kalamazoo and Cromwell, Connecticut. Hello, Canada and Guatemala. Hello, Southampton, UK, South Florida. Hello, Cornwall, sunny Cornwall. Well, some days anyway. Hello, Ohio and Northumberland. Hello to Minnesota. Hello, boy, I'm afraid I've never heard of that town in New York. And hello, Manchester, UK. Hello, Southampton, UK. Hello, Fayetteville. Hello, Illinois and Alberta. Hello to Eastern Canada. Hello, DC. Thank you very much for checking in today. Hello, Scotland, Liverpool, Munich. Asteroid strike happening today. Yeah, it's a very small asteroid. It's only 70 centimeters in diameter. It's going to enter over Russia. John, thank you so much for the tenor. Really appreciate it. We've already gotten started towards our objective of 10 super chats tonight. Hello, Nashville and North Wales. Hello, Belgium and Manchester. Hello, Greenwich and Kennick, UK. South Korea, martial law. Yeah, that is weird. Hello, Belgium, Skokie, Indianapolis, Wisconsin, Rome, San Jose, Cardiff. Really appreciate everybody checking in tonight. We have over 200 people watching. So as I say, I'm going to be fielding questions because this did not go the way I anticipated. I really didn't think that that my trip to RAF Lakenheath would result in me seeing much of anything. And I saw a lot more than I expected. And also, I experienced a lot that I didn't think I would experience in terms of interactions with locals and other people who have also seen a lot and also spent a lot more time watching the base than I did. Hello, San Jose, and I thought we got Cardiff, Gothenburg, Sweden. Russia deserves a bigger asteroid. Hello, South New Jersey. Hello to Hungary. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, the video from 2015. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I have actually received that, and I'll go ahead and look at it again. I'll tell you, it's I no excuse here, but I get overwhelmed with a lot of messages and emails, and I apologize for all of that. Robert, thank you so much for the $10. We got 2 super chats already, heading towards our goal of 10. And as always, if we can hit that goal of 10 super chats tonight, then we will award 5 Discord memberships. That includes access to my Patreon library, which has a dozen videos in it now, dozen exclusive videos that I've created for Patreon folks, and that number is going to increase as time goes on. But you're going to get that, escort to the access to the Discord server, etc. What did I hear when filming my last video? Generally, I heard nothing. Unless I was filming something that I knew for sure was a plane. For example, there's some footage in my video of something that is quite obviously a plane. You can see a green and the light and red, rather, green and red lights flashing periodically. And that is unquestionably a plane. And that was circling the field continuously, almost like on a patrol pattern. Alien Intelligence Agency, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks very much. As I say, everybody's support for this, it makes it to where I'll be able to do another one of these in the near future, because I want to follow up on these stories. I want to see exactly what's happening. But if I didn't see something that I knew I could identify, then I didn't hear anything ever. There's no noise at all. Now, sometimes there would be noise coming from the base that would mask any sort of noise. They would fire up jet engines on the base periodically, sometimes for aircraft that were about to take off. Sometimes they didn't take off. I think in some cases they're probably testing engines, doing maintenance work on them, that sort of thing. And that was on Friday night. And then on Saturday night, there was no noise at all. The entire base was completely blacked out. However, according to a mainstream British media, and once again, I'm not going to say who they work for because I don't want them to be identified by their employers, but a mainstream UK media representative said that a Chinook helicopter landed with a full squad of troops on board that apparently had been dispatched from an area that trains SAS troops. And that was at the time that the entire base was blacked out. So we had the best of the British Special Forces being dispatched to it's what is essentially a U.S. base on a Saturday night when everything was blacked out. Very strange indeed. Scotty, thank you so much for the $5. I really do appreciate it. Reddit was live with rumors of major activity by December 3rd. Pickle, thank you so much for the $5. And thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Yes, I do my best to be fact-based. I do my best to really not jump at stories until there's a little bit more factual information to back up what's being said. Or if I do show footage that's just footage, then I'll say so. That it could be a variety of things. Could be CGI, could be a lot of things. Some of this footage. Digital Voodoo, thank you so much for the tenor. And as you guys know, Digital Voodoo creates most of the music that I use on my channel now. Not only that, he also creates a lot of the visuals that I use on my channel. Very talented guy. He has a YouTube channel. We just got it past 100 subscribers today. I want to get it to 1,000, guys. 1,000 subscribers, which allows monetization, because he deserves to start making some money on what he does. Okay. So all that being the case, yeah, weird stuff indeed going on. So once again, I may have missed some questions in the chat already, and I apologize for that. And by the way, I guess I'm just telling my producer this for the first time as well. I'm also going to have a follow-up Q&A discussion with just my Discord people. And that just to kind of limit the field of questions a little bit more. So if Discord Patreon folks don't get a chance to have their questions answered tonight, I'm going to do a separate private Q&A for those folks. So if you're amongst that group and your question doesn't get answered tonight, don't worry, I got your back. Okay. So all that having been said, thank you so much, retired pod. Thanks so much. Really appreciate your support. Um, Calls out BS when he sees it. Well, once again, thanks very much. I do my best. Wow, retired pod, that's your first super chat ever on a live stream. I'm honored. Thank you so much. Boy, Chef with another super chat. Wow, another fiver. Boy, you guys are fantastic. You're just coming through tonight. Why are these things not visiting Russia and China, but only the UK and USA? Actually, they are visiting Russia and China. Absolutely, they are. We've seen lots of footage from Russia. In some cases, very similar things to the things we have seen in the United Kingdom and the United States. It's very similar phenomena. Once again, if you want to go to Genined on YouTube, you will see, and once again, I can't attest to the validity of all that footage, but I can tell you that there's a lot of Russian footage on there. Now, of course, Chinese footage is a little bit more difficult because YouTube isn't even available in China. So you have to go to the Chinese social media, to Weibo, to see the vast majority of Chinese footage that's out there. Common sense. Thank you so much for $5. Enjoyed the Ensman Echo Lance concept. Any more exploration? Yeah, I'd be very interested indeed in doing more stuff. The Ensman archive folks actually are big supporters of the channel now after I did that, because apparently the thing I did on the Echo Lance led to the book on the subject that they had just published at the time ending up on the bestseller list for a while. So they're very happy with my channel. So as a result, I've got a great relationship with the folks over at the Ensman Archive. Unfortunately, of course, Dr. Ensman's been dead for quite some time. But yeah, I mean, that is the answer. They are visiting Russia, and they're probably visiting China too, but we don't get to see as much of that because Chinese access to social media is far, far more restricted than it is here in the rest of the world. But if you have a Weibo account, which I would discourage, because if you get a Weibo account, then you're essentially opening up your information to Chinese surveillance. But if you were to get a Weibo account, you'd probably see a lot more. Okay, I am sick. Yeah. For those of thanks for your concern. Really appreciate it. Anybody's noticed that from my voice and things. I've been sick for a few days, actually. I was sick the entire time that I was in Suffolk. And then out there in that cold, I'll tell you, it was a struggle. Boy, that's strange timing. Excuse me. So yeah, it was kind of grim, but in any event, it was so exciting. I didn't really notice that I was sick a lot of the time. The recent Arizona sightings, I do have a take on that. There is one that has all of these lights, on a plane, on a single sort of horizontal, that looks like part of a huge craft of some kind or something like that. And then that has been identified as a bunch of car lights lined up on a butte or on a mesa. And again, that is a big thing about Arizona that can be very misleading, is the fact that there are so many mesas, buttes, mountains, etc., that don't show up very well in the darkness. And so it's easy to put lights on top of those things and then to misidentify them as things that are flying. However, if you watch that footage longer, watch to the end of that footage, you will see those lights spread out more into a triangular shape that appears to have dimensions, both in terms of the vertical and the horizontal, which would be impossible for cars lined up on a butte or on a mesa. So I don't know about that explanation, to be honest, even though there may indeed be a mesa that corresponds to the altitude that those lights were filmed at. That could mean a variety of things. It could mean that those lights suddenly, appeared up over the mesa, just poked up over it, and then changed their formation as they passed over the mesa. A mesa can create interesting optical effects on things both in the air and on the ground. So it's very easy to dismiss these things if you know about the terrain effects or just the terrain of the area. But at the same time, given how those lights changed and morphed over the course of the footage, I'm not entirely certain about that. Like I say, at the beginning, what's happening in Antarctica? I'm afraid I don't know. I'm sorry. There's so many things that I'm unaware of. So let's go ahead and yeah, the Antarctic stuff. I'm afraid I don't know enough about that. Um, so in any event, oh, and somebody says they debunked the car light idea using the mountain ridge line. Yeah, it's possible. Once again, just because a butte or a mesa happens to be there in the dark doesn't mean that it's something on the ground. Terrain features would affect something in the air too if whatever those lights were, if there was something flying and they were behind the mesa, they would be similarly affected. So it's, as I say, and oftentimes even UAP/UFO enthusiasts will be quick to dismiss things because they look like something that cropped up before. Bear with me for a moment, guys. I apologize. This cold is really taking a toll on me. Bear with me just a moment here. I apologize. Okay, so a lot of times, a lot of even UAP enthusiasts, will see something and they say, this kind of looks like something that was debunked, years ago, and jump to conclusions because, again, they're afraid to be criticized. They're afraid to look foolish. They're afraid to look like crazy people. And so, as a result, they will sometimes jump to conclusions that something's mundane, sometimes with very little evidence to support their assertion. And we need to be just as exacting and just as detail oriented on a mundane explanation as we are on a fantastic explanation, an extraterrestrial explanation, or whatever you want to attribute UFOs to be. If you assign a mundane cause to a UFO sighting, that means you really should be able to back it up with facts. If you can't, then we should not be so quick to embrace the mundane explanation just because it makes us feel better or just because we think it makes us look less foolish. And again, I even saw this with people who had witnessed things at RAF Lakenheath, people who did not want to be identified. Period. Even now, they don't want to be identified as somebody who believes in crazy stuff. Um, and that was very disappointing to me. But at the same time, I totally understood because people they get subjected to a lot of criticism otherwise. Let's see. Bear with me here. Well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of the way I've always. My dad taught me that that's the way my work ethic should be. So, and I've kind of always been that way. All right, let's see. Pentagon said there have been no incursions over military installations since 11/26. Is this true? Um, no. No, definitely not. It's not true. Even if it's drones being flown by amateurs or something like that, even then it's not true. The drone that I spotted on Saturday night at RAF Lakenheath was looked very much like a commonly available commercial drone. And by the way, in sharp contrast to a lot of the other things that I saw. And and it was flying in a vicinity of the base that you should not be flying drones in at all. Definitely an incursion. And so I became interested. I wanted to try to find those drone operators, and I knew that there was a road back there behind the tree line to where I could drive in and at least get close to the base and close to where I thought the drone operators might be. I took my car out, I made a couple of sweeps up and down that road, and then I saw the drone again and turned my car toward down the road to where I thought I could get closer. The moment my headlights lit up that area to where the drone was. The drone vanished completely. The lights disappeared, everything. If it was a military drone, why the hell would they care if I was swinging my headlights in that direction? Why would they not instead have chased me off if they were supposed to be there? So yeah, there's definitely a drone there. I got it on film. It's on my video. And it's like I say, I can't imagine that that was any sort of military operation. I think it was probably kids or something like that with the drone. Aria Fairford, hello, number free. Thank you very much for the £2. Very quiet. Yeah, there's been a lot of that. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, of course I'm going to chase the drone operators. It wasn't just me, by the way. The young man who represented the British news agency, who once again I'm not going to identify, he also was very interested in trying to find drone operators, and he was the one who actually turned me on to the road networks and the geography of the area as to how we could get into some of the darker areas in close proximity to the base to maybe find drone operators. And then I was following up on his leads to try to chase them down. There was another occasion where a police officer went back in there, lights on, that sort of thing. We thought maybe he was looking for drone operators, so we actually tailed him. The two of us. It's always safer for journalists when we travel in groups. People are less likely, or the officials, military, that sort of thing, are less likely to take drastic action against groups of journalists as opposed to just one on your own. So it was a very interesting night. But other than, and yeah, the drone propellers, it was very far away, that particular drone. So that's why I couldn't hear it. It was quite a ways off. But in terms of its appearance and the way it flew around, it bore a tremendous amount of resemblance to groups of drones that I saw being operated by Rocket Factory Augsburg at night in Saxavord when they were going to test the engines on their rocket there. They had several drones in the vicinity that were going to film it as they had some of the dramatic swoop down kind of maneuvers as they were getting ready to fire the engines. They're trying to get something really spectacular. It was a scrub that night. They didn't actually fire their engines, but I did see the drones, and only when the drones are fairly close are you going to hear their engines. Otherwise, you don't hear them at all. But still, the lights and their movement, all of that is very distinctive. And I'm certain that what I saw on Saturday night was a drone. But that is what I find to be so interesting, is the fact that on Friday night there was a lot more activity, and I saw quite a number of things that most definitely were not drones, at least not ordinary drones. And again, flying without noise. Now, anytime I saw jets or anything in the region. By the way, two jets made a landing at the airfield on Thursday night, or Friday night rather. And also the patrol plane that was circling the base. It had twin turboprops and was very apparent. You could definitely hear it. But everything else was moving without noise. And that was very interesting indeed. It's stuff really close to the horizon, moving without noise. We hit our goal, Shelby Z. Okay, everybody stay tuned because we're giving away 5 free memberships here. So don't forget about that. The producer is going to put in his instructions. Here we go. 5 For everybody, get ready. You're going to click on this the moment you see it. There you go. Click, 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 click on that Discord link. And the first 5 who click on it get a membership. Thank you so much, Bezos. Really, really appreciate it. Why does someone locally's hotspot just thank you so much? Buy a thermal scope and tripod. I actually think I saw some people with that out there, but unfortunately, I haven't seen their footage yet. But there were people out there with what looked to be fairly sophisticated camera equipment and tripods. So again, but then I haven't seen their footage, sadly, and they don't seem to have released it online either, and I don't know why. Very, very strange indeed. I once witnessed small orange glowing orbs following each other around. And they're playing. Yeah, I had some of that too. Some of the drones moving closer to the horizon, I saw lights as if they were pursuing each other, reacting to each other, that sort of thing. It was fascinating. But then again, the things that I saw that were really weird, because keep in mind, there were several different types of phenomena that I observed, were the things that resembled satellites in low Earth orbit passing over, but that didn't behave like satellites. And I didn't see it not only for myself, I saw a couple of these for myself, but in addition to that, an individual local who had been filming them for days, he had a lot of footage, which unfortunately I haven't gotten yet, that showed them moving through the stars. And again, they move against that starry background in a way that satellites do. And I enjoy watching satellites. I've enjoyed watching satellites for decades. And yet then they change their trajectory. Satellites can't do that. They absolutely cannot do that. And this happened several times, including a very bright object that passed over the sky to the west, northwest approximately, and tracked across the sky. I thought, boy, that's a bright satellite. Maybe it's the International Space Station or something like that. It wasn't, by the way, because I checked on the ISS's course for that particular night. It didn't correspond. Very bright, but it didn't matter because it tracked for a while and stopped and hovered. Blew my mind, just absolutely blew my mind, and then disappeared. And that was very, very strange. I thought it was a satellite in 2014, passed halfway, turned 90 degrees, went about one moon width, and stopped and stayed in the same spot for at least an hour. Yeah, it was like that. I mean, it didn't hover for that long because it vanished fairly quickly, but still very similar to what you described there. So, I mean, weird stuff. We're talking things that were over the base, things that, and there are also many, many accounts of how aircraft were pursuing these UAPs. We had, yeah, what you're watching right now, by the way, that's just the base itself. I've got some of the raw footage. As you can see, certain times of night, the base was lit up like a Christmas tree. But other time, yeah, we have a huge crowd watching, by the way. Hey, Supax, brother, I really appreciate you checking in for tonight. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks very, very much. Um, so let's see. What else we got? Let's go ahead. I've seen a massive UFO myself, says number free, plus one of those weird clouds scudding against the wind. Yeah. Interesting stuff indeed. Ion propulsion equals electromagnetic shield generator. Yep. The idea that they're demons, we live in a very strange universe. What we call demons, somebody else might call something completely different. If we're talking, and it also depends on your definition of demons. I can see that you appear to have what are Chinese characters, maybe. I'm sorry, I'm not that in your ID there. What the Japanese and Chinese define as being demons entirely different than what we define as being demons here in the West. You can see there in that grainy footage, really weird look. Again, just a lot of these objects. Some of them kind of flashing in the way that you would expect for aircraft or drones that are certified by the CAA using the appropriate using the appropriate lighting, that sort of thing, but others weren't. And again, I didn't see any of this on Saturday night. None of these lights that you're watching right now and that grainy kind of footage were there on Saturday night at all. So if they were distant commercial air traffic of some kind flashing at night, then why weren't they there on the following night? Because whatever those things were, they were associated with they were definitely associated with base activity. And again, the flashing varied and changed depending on the on the time of the flight. It wasn't like a constant flash, flash, flash that you would expect from an aircraft, but rather something that would stop and then brighten, stop and brighten, flash, flash. It just it didn't have the same appearance that some of the aircraft I saw that very night did. I mean, I saw quite a number of aircraft whose lights were, were flashing in a manner that you would expect for something certified by the FAA or the CAA, and then some not. Very, very interesting stuff. Indeed, Russia have night and thermal vision satellites. I mean, yeah, it's wow, mighty Don, and thank you so much. 50 quid, my God, blow my mind. Thank you so much for your incredible generosity. Really, really appreciate it, folks. Thanks very much. Having a great night for that. And once again, this support is what allows me to do these sorts of things. So looking forward to chasing my next UFO event. Once it gets announced anyway. If things are happening online, it's happening in the south of England somewhere, or even if it's happening somewhere else in Europe, I may go to chase that down. Because this is interesting stuff and not what I expected at all. Metallic clouds that can change direction. No, nothing like that. And as a matter of fact, I've never really seen anything in the daylight, except for one strange thing I saw close to an airport that looked like a giant flying wing of some kind, but hovering. Again, what would expect? That was what would expect for an aircraft coming into land, but I've seen that many, many times, and this aircraft never did land. Yeah, there we go. What's on the screen now is that, and again, so shaky, so horribly shaky. I apologize, guys. But that was an aircraft that I saw that night with the green and red lights. And then that later on, that footage transitioned over to that what looked like a satellite that tracked across the sky, as I said, and like a normal satellite, but then stopped, hovered. Very odd. And I saw many satellites that night, by the way, many on Friday night. It's something that one can expect to see because I mean, it's on an early evening hours. The angle of the sunlight after the sun has set, that sunlight is still shining up into the heavens above you, and so it's catching those solar panels on satellites perfectly. So you're going to see lots and lots of satellites, especially today with the advent of Starlink and other constellations. A lot more satellites than we've ever seen before. So I saw quite a number of satellites, sometimes two or three in the same area. But then again, I see a couple of others that were not satellites at all. Bet it didn't blink for the whole time filming that. Yeah, I would definitely agree. So I guess in conclusion, about time to wrap up. And wow, Jamie, thank you so much for the $10. Let me say thank you for the incredible generosity tonight. You guys have been incredible. You blew that target away on the super chats. This makes a huge difference, guys. I'm seriously more than you know. This kind of support makes it possible for me to do the things that I do. Otherwise, I would just be a YouTuber staying in the same room all the time and doing my best to report on these things as they are being reported by somebody else. But instead, because of you guys, and only because of you guys, either here with Super Chats or on Patreon or PayPal or whatever, because of you guys, that's why I'm able to do these things. And I will definitely be doing it again and soon. So, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. Once again, Discord, folks, if you didn't get your questions answered tonight, I'm going to be doing a follow-up for the Discord and Patreon folks. So just keep your eyes on the Discord and Patreon information, and I'll be announcing that very soon. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, stay angry about space.